What's up, everybody? Welcome to episode maybe 1.5 of the new Man to Man podcast. We've changed up a couple things. We will still be talking about college hoops, but with so much going on in the sporting world, we kind of decided to steer off that path. And we will talk about college hoops, but we'll also cover everything else going on in the sporting world, which there is a lot of. Tom, how you doing?
So much better now that I got to watch Alabama throp Ohio State.
I was questioning bringing my sunglasses up here and putting them on and saying, I'm blocking all the haters. I don't want to hear about Ohio State losing. I don't want to hear about how the Browns are going to get killed by Kansas City. I'm in a happy mood, but come Friday, I'll probably be like, for the Browns, I'll probably start. It'll start to sink in that I'm like, I mean, they're not gonna
Look,
win, so.
I'm rooting wholeheartedly for the Browns in that game, but I mean we gotta keep a little bit of perspective here. I'm rooting for them. I hope that they play well, keep it competitive, make it a good game, but we're gonna have to see.
Yeah, we'll talk about that more in a little bit. But right now we have some breaking news coming out of Houston and Brooklyn. James Harden is going to the Nets. I don't really care about the NBA, so I was just reading everything on our group chat. It basically seems like the Rockets got like 8 first-round picks, and the Cavs were involved somehow as well. I'm trying to kind of look it up.
So
Right.
I have it all here.
Okay, then you go ahead.
Sure. The Rockets will get this is a 3-team trade. Actually, technically a 4-team trade now. The Rockets will get Victor Oladipo, Dante Exum. I'm going to butcher his name. Rodions Karuk. Is Karuks or something? I can't pronounce his name. 3 first-round picks, 3 unprotected first-round picks, 3 unprotected pick swaps, and the Milwaukee Bucks pick from the Cavs. The Cavs will get Jared Allen and Taurean Prince. Indiana Pacers get Karis LeVert in a second-round pick, while the Nets get James Harden.
So the Nets get James Harden, and really the Rockets get Oladipo.
And the Rockets get Oladipo and, like I said, 8 picks, potentially. It's 4 unprotected first-round picks and then 4 unprotected pick swaps.
Yeah, like I said, I don't follow the NBA that much, and this is kind of why. I almost typed in the group chat. I was like, "Hey guys, just so you know, number 8 Wisconsin's playing number 10 Michigan tonight," because because college basketball at least isn't a damn soap opera like the NBA is. Like I said, I haven't been following it, but I mean, it seems like he was basically like he pulled like a couple NFL players have done it. Was like, I'm not Le'Veon Bell. He's like, I'm not going to play for you, so trade me. So I'll never understand the NBA. I think after the Celtics in 2000, whatever it was, 2005, 2008, when they formed their first big three, also because of the Nets. But they formed their big three. The NBA has changed just so much. And I don't know how this helps the Rockets. I mean, I think it helps the Rockets more than it helps the Nets because, I mean, James Harden was a cancer on that team. He's a great player, but he was a cancer on that team. And I mean, trading it without Brooklyn giving up Durant or Irving, even though we'll talk about Irving too. That's crazy. But without getting, I mean, there's just one ball. It's not NBA 2K. I mean, I don't know how they're going to fit well together. That Jared Allen was basically their only rim protector, from what I understand, other than DeAndre Jordan, who is shaky at best. But yeah, Cavs probably just got in it for no reason. I don't know. I guess Jared Allen was playing good, but.
Well, and they originally were supposed to get, I believe, Karis LeVert too, but then they got someone else. I forget exactly who because that was just a confusing blurb. But I really like what the Rockets did. I mean, they flipped Karis LeVert for Oladipo, who, yeah, he's a step down from James Harden, but he's still a really good player. And in the end, they're going to get 8 first-round picks for this.
Yeah, so the Cavs they got Jared Allen and Taurean Prince.
Taurean Prince, that's who it was.
Yeah, I know that name. I don't know why I know that name. But yeah, I mean, I don't think it's going to work out in Brooklyn.
And we shouldn't expect Kyrie to stay there much longer from what I've been reading and hearing.
like I said, hold that back for now. We're gonna get to that, but
Yeah.
um, like I just don't see it working out well. I mean, they don't have any rim protection, and honestly, I would say the Rockets won this trade because I mean, you get like you said, a step down from James Harden offensively, but Oladipo actually plays defense. He's not. I mean,
Yep.
he was playing for Indiana, so I don't really know if there's huge clubs or anything out there, but he was not known to go out and party all the time like James Harden has,
Nope.
and. They got like a ton of first round picks and Oladipo for the future. I mean, that's a win for them. And Westbrook still plays for the Rockets, right?
No, he's on the Wizards, but they
John Wall
swapped it for
play.
John Wall. So
Yeah, I
you
mean
have a
that.
new big two in the front court with Oladipo and Wall. I actually think they play off each. They will play off each other really well.
Yeah, I like the Wall Oladipo fit more than I like the. I mean, if you look at that team, I mean, of all the big threes there have been, I mean, those are all top 10 players in the NBA. For maybe not. Maybe not Irving. Maybe he's like top 15, but I mean those are all top 10 players in the NBA. And the problem they have is, I mean, the I mean, when the Celtics first did it, they had Rajon Rondo. I mean, he didn't want to score. He was just there to pass the ball and not shoot
Yep.
threes and hopefully make free throws. I don't know. I mean, I guess your goal is to have Kyrie bring it up, but Kyrie, none of those guys are really, other than Durant a little bit, are really off ball like scorers. You know what I mean?
Yeah, well, and it doesn't help that when he was with Houston, Harden was bringing the ball up. He was playing point guard, and Russ was playing too. So you're now having to split time between Kyrie and Harden in the front or in the back, whatever. And Kevin Durant is the best player on that team. If not, he's easily a
Yeah,
top 3 player in the league when he's healthy.
yeah, absolutely.
And you can't. I understand like, oh, we're gonna get all this talent and it's gonna work. The reason that Celtics team worked so well was everyone had a role and everyone
Yeah,
knew what their role was and actually liked doing their role.
yeah,
All of these
exactly.
guys are the same thing. They're
Yeah,
all scorers.
I mean, when the Celtics did, like you said, I mean, their main, I mean, they had three guys, but I mean, and Ray Allen too. I mean, that Celtics team was almost
He
like
was
a
part
big,
of the three.
yeah.
It's
No, it
Rondo
was,
was the guy left out of that.
yeah. It was Pierce, Ray Allen, and Garnett. So Ray Allen was just your spot up shooter. Pierce and Garnett did the bulk of the scoring outside, and then Garnett did it inside. I mean, I just don't. I mean, you have to start all three of Irving, Harden, and Durant. I mean, they're not going to take, knowing those guys and their egos, they're not going to take a 6-man role. No, no damn way.
Not a
And
shot.
I mean, I don't see how. I mean, it goes back. This is just why I don't like the NBA. It's so.
Well, and
I
now
mean,
it's all based on super teams, and I think we've had this discussion maybe off screen before, but this is why college basketball is so much better
yeah,
because it's not super teams; it's just good team basketball, and people can get on hot runs whenever, and it's not the same teams every year. Like all the
no,
super team stuff makes the game is it's almost disrespecting to the game, in my
it's
opinion.
yeah, and I know. I think Adam on the group chat kind of asked the question, how did this compare to like the big three of Drexler, Elijah, and I think someone else?
Kenny
And
Smith,
yeah, and basically those guys were just like, I mean, they played their roles. I mean, these guys, like I'm beating a dead horse, but they're just three scorers. None of them are facilitators. They can get rebounds, but this drives me even further away from the NBA. Like I don't care. So,
and it
but
really sucks because you and I are very much into the college basketball scene, and we want to see our guys that we love in college grow into NBA stars. But now we can't even do that because you can't enjoy the game.
yeah, I mean, it's just weird, and I mean, I will self admit that like I probably stopped watching the NBA once LeBron left Cleveland for the second time, which
Makes
was
sense.
fine. He won us the championship, so I didn't really expect anything. And he left. He went to LA. He's probably still the best player in the league. But yeah, I stopped watching the NBA after that. It was just I'm in yeah. So and we'll get into Kyrie Irving a little bit because that's just I don't even know what to say about that.
Yeah,
So.
that whole thing is just weird, man. I don't even.
And we have to be. I mean, when we talk about it, we're gonna have to be careful about it because I really do think he has some serious mental issues.
Yeah,
Um,
we'll get to that after we go through the little intro.
yeah, but so considering we have switched to a sporting podcast, we are going to do today in sports history. Um, I'll read them all. In 1953, on this day, the third NBA All-Star game is held with the West beating the East 79-75. That's like the halftime score nowadays.
Literally.
Literally, if not
Literally.
more.
Yeah.
If not more. And George, I don't know why I put Georgia, but his name is George Mikan of
Yep.
the Minneapolis Lakers, won the MVP.
Dove.
On this on the second one, that's where the Mikan drill comes from. Any of you young basketball players that your coaches forced you to do the Mikan drill, it's the worst.
Mr. Perfect.
On January 2nd, 1982, there was the first recorded streaker in sports history. Erica Rowe hopped into the record books as she skipped onto a rugby field in front of 60,000 fans topless.
Legend.
I like this Erica Rowe chick. I like her a lot. I think we need to, hopefully she's still alive. We need to look her up and try and get her on the pod. That'd be huge.
My God.
Also, I got to say about that, like of all the sports to go like streaking or running the field, rugby is probably not the one you want to do because those I mean, like you obviously don't want to do football because they'll hit you too. But rugby dudes, like they tape their ears because they rip each other's ears off. Like,
and they don't wear like the pads, and I'm sure it hurts to get hit by pads if you don't have any on.
Yeah,
but, getting a full like massive body just on you when they're trying to like play their game, like. It's not like soccer where they're like, what are they gonna do? Like
I've seen, dude, you gotta see this. There's this one video out there. It's in like the English, like the third or fourth league they have, and this dude, he wore like the actual jersey, like obviously he bought it at a store, but the jersey, and he went onto the field, scored a goal for the team, and then they realized he was just a fan. So
I love that.
So he celebrated like he was a player too, and I didn't read it all, but I'm sure the players like got to him in the corner by the corner and were like, "Who the fuck are you, dude?"
See, it would have been great if they actually. I'm assuming they took the score off. Imagine they kept it.
I think I think that's got to be.
Point,
that has to be a rule. You have to keep it. Like
if some fan who's not a professional soccer player can score on a professional goalie, it should still count.
And like just the fact that he hopped in as they were like on the attack and just got the ball and just kicked it his first time. Absolute legend. We should definitely try and get him too. I don't know his name though. I'll look it up.
Start a petition. We'll start a petition.
And then on the last Today Sports History, on January 5th, 1927, the BBC broadcasted live sports commentary for the first time. That's big for our field. I don't know if you've ever done radio. I've done radio. I don't really like radio, but I mean, it's a big thing. So that's pretty interesting. So you know what? Instead of getting right into the national championship, because we are already on the NBA talk, we'll go down to 4 and 5. On your outline it's 4 and 5, but we'll start with Kyrie Irving. I have a little bit of a story. It's in the public. I don't know who wrote it, but or maybe it was on a podcast, but I listened to. But basically, after the Cavs won the championship in 2016, like after they left the court and everything, Kyrie didn't take questions. He didn't smile. He wasn't happy. Like they just won the NBA championship. Kyrie could have been.
When didn't he hit the game winner too?
Yeah, it was, and then and then Sports Illustrated came out and like did like a whole thing. Like basically, if you factor everything in, it was the most clutch shot of all time. But he has been absent from the Brooklyn Nets this whole week, I believe, ever since the riots in DC. And I guess they asked Steve Nash, they're like, what's going on? And he was like, I don't know what's going on with him. And I guess the other day, or maybe it was yesterday, the day before, he was on like a Zoom call with New York's, like one of the guys who's running for New York's attorney general instead of playing basketball. So I don't know what you got on him, but I mean, it's just, he's a weird dude, and he's dealt with a lot of things. Like I can somewhat understand like the NBA players and the NFL players who like have their whole lives broadcasted on social media and stuff like that, and they can't really have like time to themselves. But I think he's taken it a little too far and kind of just, I don't know.
This reminds me a lot of the Derrick Rose incident in New York with the Knicks. He went MIA for like a week and a half. And then they finally like got onto him and they're like, dude, what happened? And there was never really like a big answer or explanation. Like I said, you and I are not very big NBA people, so we don't really follow. But that's like the closest thing I can think of to this. I don't really know. Obviously, no one knows what's going on with Kyrie, but he's a very weird cat, like you said. Like he started the whole flat earther thing.
Yeah.
He's super into the Illuminati. Like he, has gone on campaigns and believes in alien. Like this dude is off the wire a little bit. And
Yeah, I mean, when he first came to Cleveland, I mean, I think that's what Kyrie's wanted the whole time, even though it's weird that he went to Brooklyn. Kyrie just wants to be the guy. He wants to be the guy on a team. And
yeah,
he had a good time with the Cavs before LeBron came back because he was literally the only guy on the court that could play basketball.
yeah. Well,
So,
he was fine taking the back seat with LeBron, but when he
but
went to
he
the
really
Celtics,
wasn't. If you look
no,
at
I
like
know he wasn't, and that's why they had to like move him and everything. I'm just saying he was fine taking that backseat to get that first championship, but
yeah,
now he wants to be the guy going forward. That's
yeah.
why he went to the Celtics. That's why he went to Brooklyn with Kevin Durant. Which why would you orchestrate going to Brooklyn with Kevin Durant of all people if you want to be the guy? Because he in my opinion he's the second best basketball player on the planet right now. And I'm sorry I'm not a
Kyrie
big
Irving?
no KD.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
we can agree on that. Yeah.
Right. So like I am not the biggest LeBron James fan, and that it is what it is. I'm just not a huge fan, but I respect his talent. He's the best.
Yeah.
Kevin Durant, in my opinion, is the second best player in the NBA
I agree
when
totally.
healthy. And
I think the top three are LeBron. And it's weird because they all play the same position. LeBron, KD, and then you throw in Giannis, maybe.
I have Anthony Davis as my third.
Anthony Davis definitely too, but I don't like to keep two in the top three on the same team. That just seems really unfair. But yeah, Anthony Davis is really. I mean, yeah, I mean, yeah.
But
Why would he?
if
Go
you're
ahead.
trying to go and be the guy, why orchestrate to go play somewhere with one of your buddies who happens to be one of the two top players in the league, and you're like, oh, I don't want to play with LeBron because he's too good and I can't be the man. Why would you just go a step down and expect things to be different?
Yeah, the whole NBA after like Kevin Durant signed with the Warriors, I think it just took a. I don't like the Warriors. I've always hated the Warriors. I
Agreed.
really hate Draymond Green. I think Steph Curry is one of the most overrated basketball players,
You know
if
how I
not
feel about him.
ever.
I should
What?
talk to him. I said, you know how I feel about Curry. I should talk to him last week.
Yeah, I mean I mean the fact that he won a unanimous MVP and Michael Jordan didn't even win a unanimous MVP. I mean, the NBA at that point was just looking for someone else to give an MVP award to other than KD or LeBron. So, yeah, but it, I don't. The NBA is the NBA, and it's always going to be that way. But like I was saying, that when KD signed with the Warriors on that team, I think it changed all of basketball. Like because LeBron came back to Cleveland and they had their big three, but when Kevin Durant, the best player, second best player in the league, like asks to go to Golden State, I mean, it ruins the NBA. I mean, it
Well,
now.
you can't destroy the narrative like that. Kevin Durant not only asked to go to Golden State, he asked to join a 73 win Golden State team. That's the most all time.
Yeah,
He went to the best, like statistically the best. I still think that the Bulls that had the 72 win were better, but statistically they're the best team of all time, and he had to go join them as the second best player in the league.
yeah.
Are you
I
kidding me?
lost a lot of respect for him, especially because Westbrook was so cool with him and like so open with him in Oklahoma City, and he was just like, "No, I'm out." So I
Yeah,
don't know.
well,
That's pretty much our NBA talk for the day. You could add something else. I don't know.
I
I
I was
mean,
just gonna wrap it back to Kyrie, and I hope he figures out whatever he's looking for soon.
and like I understand. Like I don't do politics because we shouldn't do politics on a sports podcast. Like I understand.
100% agree. Thank you.
I understand like the things that happen in DC and like that affects people. But dude, you're an NBA basketball player. Like you don't need to be sitting out of games and like going on Zoom calls with someone who's trying to be the attorney general in New York, just because like that's your job. Like I could never go to someone like if I work somewhere and never be like, oh, there was riots in Columbus this weekend, so I'm not coming to work. Like I just don't.
Exactly.
I don't get him, and I like I said, I hope he's safe. I hope he's all right.
Yeah,
But
I hope he's figuring it out in his own way in his own time, and I hope he comes back soon.
yeah, I mean, because I mean, I'm not gonna lie. I mean, with Harden on the Nets, I don't like the NBA and I don't like the fit. It makes it somewhat more interesting. Like, I mean, are they gonna fail
Well,
or are they gonna win?
and I said earlier, and I was told I was going to wait until we start talking about him. Don't expect Kyrie to be with the Nets much longer. Just from the things that I'm reading, like this whole thing that he's pulling with not being there, it's rubbing the guys the wrong way. And now that they basically traded away all of their depth and all of their bench, they're
They
going to need to get some of that back. And they're not going to trade Kevin Durant because Kevin Durant's, like we said, one of the best players in the league, and you're not trading Harden because you just got him. So that
well, you
leaves.
can't. You I don't think they can actually even like legal or NBA rules wise trade Harden once you pick like once you trade him in their season. You have to wait a certain amount of
Yeah,
time.
it's like 60 days or something, but you know what I mean. Like they're not going to trade him right at the deadline. Like it's going to leave Kyrie as the odd man out,
Yeah,
and
and
I wouldn't be surprised if they traded him to the Knicks for a bunch of young pieces.
I
But
mean, what do you think? What do you think Kyrie Irving fetches in a trade? Like
I don't think. Well, here's my thing. Like it's not really his choice. He's in a contract with the team.
that's not
He
what I'm
does.
saying.
He
Like
doesn't have a no trade clause. They
what
can
what I'm
trade him wherever.
what I'm saying more is like if the Nets trade KD or Kyrie, like what's the return going to be on Kyrie? Like what are they?
Okay,
Because
so
because I really don't know. Like
yeah, and
I
like I said, I'm no basketball savant. Like I'm not. I'm much like you. I don't really care for the NBA that much. But considering that you just got Harden for 4 first-round picks, 4 swaps, and you traded away some your bench and everything, you could expect some young pieces back. So like I'm gonna go. I don't even know. I don't know what you can get for a guy that's not playing.
yeah I and
So
it's not like he's like sitting out like an NFL player like wanting a new contract. It's
yeah,
just
he's gone MIA.
I would be if I were a contender right now, I would be very wary to trade for Kyrie Irving.
That's
And
why I mentioned the Knicks because they're not contending. Well, they've actually turned it around. I didn't actually realize how good they're doing.
I mean, as long as the Dolans own them,
Yeah, no, I agree.
every team that the Dolans own, including the Cleveland Indians, are a joke. So, um,
Agreed.
but with that, and then there's another NBA story I had on here. The NBA is going to implement stiffer protocols for COVID. Um, it doesn't surprise me that a bunch of the players have gripes against this, and I'll read what George Hill said last night about it. So this is from George Hill last night. We want to play the game, but I don't understand some of the rules. We can sweat 48 minutes with a guy next to us for 48 minutes, but we can't talk to them afterwards. It makes no sense. I'm a grown man. I'm going to do what I want to do. If I want to go see my family, I'm going to go see my family. They can't tell me I have to stay in a room 24/7. If it's that serious, then maybe we shouldn't be playing. But it's life. No one's going to be able to just cancel their whole life for this game. Um, I think he took it a little far, but I pretty much agree with him. I mean,
I don't know if I would say he took it far. I think he was just simply making. I agree mostly with what he's saying.
yeah.
I don't really agree with the. Oh God, I don't even. I had it here. I think I agree with them. I mean, the
Yeah,
the
no,
one part where they say like, oh, they can't tell me what I have to stay in my room 24/7. I mean, yes, they can't because it's your free will and everything, but like you're getting paid by them to go and play the game, and if that's their rule, then you got to abide by the rules. But everything, I agree with everything that he said. I mean, we life is life. You got to go out and play, or you got to say no, we can't because of COVID reasons.
yeah, I know. I think either today, last night, or maybe tomorrow, a lot of the NBA execs are meeting to kind of figure out what to do. Because I mean, around the league, rosters are thinning because of, I mean,
Yeah, I saw the 76ers had to play a game the other night with 7 players, and Dwight Howard was playing point guard.
Yeah, I mean, that I didn't see that though. That'd be funny because I don't think Howard knows how to dribble, um, or do anything but dunk.
It may
But
have been more of a joke because I saw the headline from I think it was Doc Rivers. He's back there, right? I think that's what it is, but
I don't know. But
same thing.
yeah, I mean, I pretty much agree with him too. I mean, and if you look at, I mean, I'm no like surgeon or doctor or anything, but if you look at, I mean, it's going to get worse here in the next couple months. Like, I don't see it getting better because a lot of people won't even be able to get vaccinated for a couple months. So, I mean, their best option is just to go up until the All-Star break, I think, hit the All-Star break, do the All-Star game, and then go back to the bubble. I mean,
Yeah, I mean, and people hated the bubble, so I find it hard to say like, oh, we're gonna do this bubble again, and everyone's just gonna be happy with it. So I think it's gonna be really interesting because I feel like George Hill has a very valid point with everything that he said, but
yeah, I
I
think
don't know
he's
if
in
it's
like
practical.
I think he's one of the leaders of one of the bigger guys in the NBA PA Players Association.
Yeah,
But
he's like up there with Chris Paul somewhere.
yeah, so that's our NBA talk for today. So we probably won't talk about the NBA for like 3 or 4 weeks now. So you got your NBA fix in. And now we will move on to um, Nick
And
Saban winning his 7th national championship. I guess I'll start by asking you this: do you think he's the best college coach of all time?
I mean, how is he not? I mean,
No, I agree. I think he is.
yeah, he has 7 all time. I think that's more than Paul Ryan, right? Or Paul Bryant,
Bear
whatever.
Bryant.
Bear Bryant,
Bear
yeah.
Bryant.
I think he has
Funny
more.
story about Bear Bryant. Bear Bryant, he retired, whatever year he retired in. And um, they asked him when he retired, they're like, what are you going to do once you retire? He's like, oh, I'll probably croak in a week. And he died 3 weeks later.
Oh,
He died. He literally was such a football coach that he died because he was no longer around football. But
that's a shame. But I mean, he has more champs than him, and he's always done good. I don't see how he's not.
yeah, I think he is too. And we talked about it here. I'll pull it up. I'll pull up the
I mean,
full recruiting
I can pull
class.
up the thing that I read you before the show if you want, because I have
Uh,
it. I already got it up here.
Here, I got it. It's just right
Perfect.
here. So, but yeah, I mean that game, and I don't know if I talked to you about it, but a lot of people forget that when Alabama played Georgia in the national championship, you remember that one?
Yes,
Tua came in the second half, threw the game-winning touchdown to Devonta Smith.
I
So
did
a
not
lot of people,
remember that. I just remember feeling very, very sad after that play happened.
yeah. So why are you a big Georgia fan?
I like Georgia. They're like one of the teams that I go out of my way to watch for college football, but I'm also a big anti-Alabama person.
I can understand anti-Alabama, but you're not changing much going to Georgia, buddy. Their coach is incompetent. I mean, JT Daniels was healthy we've already me and uh uh God, why can't I think of his name right now? Me and Jake have already said that over the offseason we're gonna find out what was really going on down in Georgia because he had a healthy
Yeah,
JT Daniels all year, didn't use him and used Stetson Bennett and that other guy. So there's something fishy going on in Georgia. But yes,
yeah,
Alabama ended up beating Ohio State, I think 52-24.
yep.
We I've talked about it with Jake all the time. We talk about it pretty much every week nowadays, but it used to be Alabama. I mean, I remember the national championship game, I think 2012 or 2013, or maybe even earlier, when Alabama played LSU in the national championship, and the final score was like 12-9. It was like,
Did they play LSU?
yeah, they played LSU once in the regular season, and then they played them again in the national championship.
Oh God, I don't remember that game at all.
I vaguely remember it, but yeah. But I mean, defense is just dead and if it's not as bad in the NFL, but it's still kind of bad. But I mean,
Yeah,
you could have put an all American team of the top defenders from every other team in the country on that, and Alabama still would have been able to score, I think.
More than likely. I actually was talking with one of my buddies. If you had taken Alabama's defense and put it versus Alabama's offense, maybe that would have been able to stop them because
Oh, Alabama's defense was bad this year, though.
it was bad, but like they've been good overall.
Yeah, I mean they had. I mean, here. So this is the official Alabama 2017 recruiting class, probably the best ever. Najee Harris, 6'3" running back. Alex Leatherwood started a tackle on Monday night. Dylan Moses started middle linebacker. Jerry Jeudy caught 52 balls and had over 800 receiving yards for the Broncos this year. Shockingly, Tua is really the only one that's in the NFL now that might not have a starting job next year. But Tua was in that class. Jedrick Wills, the offensive tackle that now plays for the Browns, has been awesome. He was in that class. Xavier McKinney, do you know who he plays for?
The New York Giants, sir.
Oh, he does. Yeah, I mean,
he was like the third pick of the second round.
Yeah, I remember when I played Madden, I sometimes pick him. And then Devonta Smith. From Louisiana, I guess. He was only 4-star. Henry Ruggs, who was with the
Las Vegas Raiders.
He's just really fast. Isaiah Buggs. I know that name. I don't know where he plays, but I know he's in the NFL or was.
Is he?
And yeah, I think so because I remember that name. And then Mac Jones was also part of that recruiting class. Mac Jones, the 3-star, nationally ranked 400. And that's it for that class.
So basically, what you just read off to me was a bunch of first-round picks and Xavier McKinney, who was basically a first-round pick.
Xavier McKinney would be a first-round pick this year.
He should have been one last year. I actually did before I joined Back Sports Page. I had my own little website that I was running off Wix, and I did a mock draft. I had him going 31 to the Dolphins or whatever it was, and he should have been a first-round pick last year. So basically, I don't like I said, I don't know who Isaiah Buggs is. I don't remember him. But I'm sure he was a high round pick, or maybe was he on the team this year? Maybe has he not come out yet?
I'm looking him up right now. Oh yeah. Oh no, he plays for the Steelers.
What round? Where was he picked?
Give me a second, man. Jesus.
He was picked in the 6th round.
6th round, yeah. So obviously not the superstars like that, but the guy still got
drafted. It's not like he was an undrafted free agent signing. Like that's a bunch of first-round picks in Isaiah Buggs. Like that is that has to be the best recruiting class of all time.
Oh, I think it is the best recruiting class of all time. But I want to get in front of this before people start going crazy and saying that Alabama, this year's team, still could not beat the worst NFL team. They still couldn't beat the worst NFL team. No. I hate when people bring that up because it's like, okay, Alabama probably every single player on their team this year probably could get drafted. But if you look at an NFL starting 22, most of those players were drafted in the first set. I mean, they're just better. So I hate hearing about that. But if there ever was a team that could hang with, I don't know, maybe the Jaguars this year or the Jets, it would have been this year's Alabama or 2000.
Last year's LSU.
LSU maybe, or 2000 Miami, who had Ed Reed, Jeremy Shockey, all those guys.
Yeah, so all those guys. I agree.
That roster, that Miami roster, was probably the most NFL talented roster, I would say. But this was a better recruiting class overall because if you look at all those players, they all played there. I mean, they gave Alabama about it. Like, I think Devonta Smith now has 2 national titles. I mean, so that whole recruiting class has given them through this year and all the way back to 2 years ago. So
yeah, I think I remember listening to the guys saying that the seniors that were still there, like Devonta Smith, bookended their careers with natties.
Yeah,
so they won their freshman year and they won their senior year.
It's crazy because basically Nick Saban could go into any house of a recruit and since 2009 he can go into any house of a recruit and guarantee that recruit will win the national championship at least one time during his tenure because he wins one every 2 or 3 years. He won one at LSU in 2003, which I didn't know he was coach at LSU. I knew he was coach at LSU. I didn't know he beat that won that year. But so he won in 2009, 2011, 2012. So that's 3 championships in 4 years right there, and then 15 and 17, and now 20. So I mean, if you were a senior in high school, Nick Saban could absolutely come up to you and tell you that if you stay for 4 years, or even most of the time 3, you will win a national title.
Yep.
So, and I know I kind of talked about it, but I mean, I think the only way to bring Alabama down is, Nick Saban's got to retire. That's the only thing I could think of. I can't imagine the next coach at Alabama. He won't be as good as Nick Saban because he probably can't be as good as Nick Saban. But the next coach in Alabama is going to have such huge shoes to fill. It's going to be crazy.
It's going to be embarrassing to watch because no one's ever going to recreate what Nick Saban has built.
No.
Just another side note, since we're talking about potential new coaches when he retires, did you see the news either yesterday or the night before about who Alabama's new offensive coordinator is going to be?
Yeah. Who it's
going to be the one.
Bill O'Brien, yeah.
The one, the only Bill O'Brien.
God,
talk about getting shamed, bro.
So that's basically it for the next championship. I don't know where Ohio State goes from here, but this is a good transition into NFL. What Bill O'Brien did to the Texans
is atrocious.
I think it should be a crime. I mean, dude gave away Clowney for some picks, gave away DeAndre Hopkins, who is top 3, top 4 receivers in the NFL, basically just gave them away. And what the fuck was that?
You said top 3, top 4, and I said, go a little higher there.
Yeah,
he's top 2. He has to be top 2. That guy
he's insane. He's insane. I mean, he has glue for hands. But so he gave away that. And just by the fact that he was the head coach and the GM, like, no one can do that but Belichick, because Belichick has no feelings and isn't really human. But, I mean, and now Watson's going to be out. Like, it's crazy. And
the thing with Bill O'Brien, and I've been talking with my father about this a lot, you can't have one guy have so much control over a franchise. Like, that usually, I'm not sure how much you know about the situation, but usually a team has 2 of 3 positions. There's usually a head coach, a GM, and a president of football ops. Those are the 3 roles, and they usually have 2 of the 3. The Broncos they're hiring a new GM. They have John Elway now as the president of ops, and they have a head coach. Having more people is usually better. Bill O'Brien did all 3 of those. Not many people know that he had control over the business stuff. He did all 3 of them. I don't see any website that I've read say that there was a president of football ops to control the money stuff at the stadium, basically the business side of the game. He was doing all 3. He basically was running that franchise by himself. The owners didn't have any say because of how much power he had. Look at what he did.
I just can't believe they gave him that much power. I just can't believe it. I mean, it's crazy. I mean, I know the owners have, like, at least I've heard. I'm not going to say this is for sure true, but they have kind of a little bit of like a racist backlash, kind of, which isn't surprising in Texas, I guess. But I mean, so basically, Deshaun Watson wanted to be part of the the
racial justice movement.
Yeah, but also wanted to be part of the group that was in on the new GM, and I guess they just shut him out and didn't let him in. And I just saw today that from, I think, Pro Football Talk, basically, I mean, there's no fixing this. They just got to trade him. And
so what I had read with that is Deshaun Watson, when he signed his 4-year extension for the $156 million, they said, "You're our franchise guy. We're going to roll everything through you. We want your opinion on, future head coaches, future GMs, basically the future of the franchise. We want to hear your opinion because you're going to be the one playing." And they didn't even listen or take into consideration what he had said about the GM vacancy before they hired another company. They paid $500,000 plus to a company to help them find a GM, and then they just completely ignored that.
Yeah.
So he's just frustrated because they don't have a plan. They don't know what they're doing, along with all of the other things that has happened thus far. I didn't
Yeah.
know that it's now irreparable. I didn't hear anything about that from me, but as you know, I've been a little occupied today, so it doesn't surprise me that this is the outcome that's going to happen.
Where do you think he's going to play next year?
Okay, I have two teams in mind, and they're not the top team everyone's talking about.
It was a top team, the
Everyone's
49ers.
No, everyone's talking about Miami trading for him and
Yeah,
trading Tua.
Tua. Yeah.
I don't think that's going to happen personally because Miami has been without draft capital for a little while here. They're finally starting to build some back. I don't see them selling the farm of all the stuff that they just got to get Watson, even though he's very good.
Actually, just hold your thought. We'll get to it in a little bit, okay?
Yep.
But with that, we will head into it's going to be part of one of the segments, so don't worry.
Okay.
You'll still get to say it. Don't worry. So we'll get into the NFL playoffs, and obviously, big. I mean, there are some big matchups this weekend, and there were basically the only bad matchup of the wild card round was the Bears and the Saints. I think. I mean, the Bears just. I almost like because funny thing is Mitchell Trubisky went to school in Ohio, went to school about 40 minutes from where I went to school, and I kind of followed him, and I went to North Carolina, so I was happy for him. I feel bad for him now. I mean, he has to go somewhere else. Like, he has to go somewhere else.
He needs to change the scenery.
Yeah, I mean, first of all, they're not going to sign him to an extension, A, and B, I mean, the way that Nagy, like, did the flipping back and forth between him and Foles this year, I mean, it's just over for him. So I don't know where they go from here, but I've heard their name pop up in the Deshaun Watson. I've heard them. I heard Pittsburgh today, which I highly doubt, and which would suck because that would make them even better. But I would highly doubt because I don't think Pittsburgh has enough draft capital and they haven't had a losing season in like 10 years. So those picks wouldn't entice me, and I guess neither would Mason Rudolph or Ben Roethlisberger.
I have my own philosophy of who they're going with personally.
All right.
If he doesn't get signed by his current team, that is.
Yeah, hold on. It'll be later, but but the big story, the Cleveland Browns upset the Pittsburgh Steelers. I'm writing something down, so hold on.
Yep. Yeah, upset the Steelers.
Yes,
with an absolutely dominating performance.
It was not a dominating performance. I'm not gonna sit here and be like, yeah, the Browns were just the better football team. They got incredibly lucky. I know I told you, but I was talking to some of my buddies and my parents with a group chat, and I was like, you know what, the Browns, they really need a couple balls to just bounce their way. Why did you text me right now? I'm in.
I must have had bad service. I tried sending you that when you sent the link. My bad.
No worries. But I said they just need to have a couple balls bounce their way, and that's exactly what happened on the first two possessions. The ball went into the end zone. They recovered it for a fumble. And then the second possession, Ben tried to dump it off to one of his running backs and got one-handed interception by the Browns' seventh-string cornerback. So, I mean, I don't know if it was much about how well the Browns played, as just how bad the Steelers were. I mean, Ben Roethlisberger, I don't know if he can play next year. I mean, and if you watch most of his games, most of the Steelers games, all he does is he sits in the pocket for about 2 seconds. Nothing's open deep. He just dumps it off to Claypool, Juju.
Because they have no run game. That's why they're running all these short little routes to make up for the lack of run game.
Which was so weird. They have the NFL's worst rushing attack, and you would have never thought that if you watched the first half of that game, because they tried to run the ball, which was, I mean, it was shocking to me. I mean, because the Browns were starting Terrence Mitchell, who is a starter in the NFL. He's not that bad. And then Robert Jackson, who I don't even know, and then MJ Taylor played the slot, who was an undrafted rookie. So I just think the Steelers played horrible, and uh, like Juju, I can kind of understand, but when guys like Chase Claypool start talking shit about the Browns, it's like you weren't part of the Steelers teams that used to dominate the Browns. So like I can hear it from Juju a little bit, and I can hear it from Ben, and I can hear it from Cam Hayward and T.J. Watt and those guys. But for a rookie, you've played the Browns 3 times in your career, and you have lost twice. So shut up. That was kind of my whole point. And it just like I liked Claypool for a while, and then I don't know.
Yeah, I agree.
But
I really wanted to like him because I watched some of his TikToks. The one where he's at Notre Dame and he's like, "Oh, I'm celebrating my first American Halloween. I heard we do things differently," and then goes to his class in Notre Dame dressed in a Scooby Doo costume when no one else is wearing a costume. Like that was hilarious. I wanted to like the guy, but like you can't be running your mouth off like this if you can't back it up with your play.
I
Because the
mean,
past 2 weeks when he was playing the Steelers, he got shut down as
I
the
mean,
third option.
yeah. I mean, he had the one touchdown, but I mean, Ben
Like
looked
that.
bad. He looked bad. I mean, yeah, it's going to be weird to see where the Steelers go next year, what direction they're headed in, because the Steelers don't fire coaches. I mean, Tomlin's going to be there, but I don't know what you do with Roethlisberger. Juju's a free agent, so it'll be interesting to see. But yes, I've already started tweeting at Patrick Mahomes or Tyreek Hill or uh, Clyde Edwards-Helaire. I said just start talking shit right now so we get bulletin board material. I want him to start talking shit. It's the only way we win. But no, but yeah. So the Browns will play in that game versus the Chiefs. It'll actually be on Sunday at 3. Sunday will officially be a year sober for me, so you can congratulate me on that. Sober from
Hey,
alcohol, so there will be a big, not party, but I'll probably watch the game by myself.
oh,
Try not
congratulations, sir.
try not to cry. Um, but yeah, so that'll be Sunday. But other NFL news, we have a couple little bit of that. Uh, Lamar Jackson came out and proved he could win in the playoffs. He that like 60, 70 yard run he had, I don't think any other quarterback in league history can make that run. No one has that speed. Not even Kyler Murray. But so he came out and proved, and that when they stomped on the logo, I didn't really get that. Like, it's not one of your rivals. Like, I just,
So the story behind that was last year after the Titans upset the Ravens. They like did a little team huddle and like with the fist and everything and on their logo, on the Ravens logo, I think it
okay.
was. And I guess some people were stomping on it after that were in the middle and didn't think they'd be seen by the cameras or something. So I thought it was very classless of Lamar to not even go and shake hands with Tannehill. You know, forget the other players, but like you're going through a quarterback duel between the other guy who played a heck of a game, and you're not even going to shake hands. I think it was very classless, and it makes me like Lamar even less than I already did.
Yeah, I mean, if you clearly saw the Browns game, but I mean, Ben Roethlisberger and Claypool and Juju Smith-Schuster did the same thing. They
Yeah,
just sat on the bench. It's like, dude, you have won like 22 games over the Browns in your career, and they've won now twice. Like, you can at least go and shake their hands. But yeah, it's I don't really like Lamar Jackson. Like, if the Browns were to redo that draft and they still had the number 1 pick, I don't know if they take Baker Mayfield. I think they might take Josh Allen, but I don't think they would take Lamar Jackson because, I mean, Baltimore had to recreate their offense with him. Like, they're now running a college option offense because of him, and it's working so far. But I don't think they'll survive this week versus the Bills. I think the Bills are better. Um, but yeah. And then also Lamar Jackson is afraid of snow. Um, he is. He said it. I put it on here. There's a 40% chance of snow in Buffalo on Saturday night. He was asked if he had played in snow before. He said, nope, 0. Saturday will be my first time playing in the snow. If it does, hopefully it don't. That sounds like a man who's scared and has tiny hands and can't grip the football when it's
and he
cold.
already doesn't throw well.
No, yeah. So, and I hope there's snow. I hope there's snow in Kansas City for the Browns game. Anything that can throw some teams off, I'm all in for. But then the other big story coming out of Wild Card Weekend, the NFL gets what they want, and there will be a Breeze Brady matchup. Is this? Yeah, it's Sunday night, I believe. So that'll
Yep.
be pretty big. Both both quarterbacks to me have pretty kind of fallen off a bit. You can't throw deep with Drew Brees. He doesn't have the arm strength anymore. And Tom, I mean, he's gotten better with Buffalo or with the Bucks, but he's just, I mean, he both those guys are just immobile in the pocket. They can't move. So
Yeah, I mean, it's really sad to kind of see the regression of Breeze's arm, and I don't feel bad for Tom Brady whatsoever. But
no, Tom
really,
Brady
Drew.
can.
Yeah,
Yeah,
no, we all. I would finish the sentence the same way. Um, but for Breeze, like Breeze has been the guy that I've like followed and watched for a while now, and he's like a family favorite of ours. So it's really sad to see him kind of fall off this way. But I hope he can at least go out as a NFC Championship winner. Whether or not he wins the Super Bowl, I don't care. But
he already
just
won one. He already
yeah,
won one, and he
it would be
owns.
nice to see him get the Peyton Manning treatment, though. That's really like my thing.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, he won one, and I mean, but yeah, I mean, when he got drafted by the Chargers, I mean, he had shoulder issues. So I mean, when you get older, that's going to hurt you. But they're fine with him for right now. I don't think they have enough juice to get there without him throwing deep. But it should be a good game on Sunday. I will probably not see it because I will be crying and falling asleep after the Browns lose. So that's about it. But that's pretty much going to do it for our NFL talk. Other than, I don't know if you have any. I didn't tell you to do any, but I did mine. Picking versus the spread. I like Green Bay -6.5 over the Rams. Buffalo -2.5 versus the Chiefs. The Browns +10 at the Chiefs, and the Buccaneers +3 versus the
For
Saints.
the Buffalo game, you said versus the Chiefs. Did you mean 2.5 over?
Ravens,
Okay.
yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I agree with those. I probably would have agreed with those
I mean, I,
because,
I don't really think it's going to be a 10-point game with the Browns and the Chiefs, but I have to bet on it because I don't know. I just have to.
yeah. I mean, I would have probably gone the same way. I mean, looking at just the NFL games, I would have put the same things down.
So with that, before we get into a couple segments, we will go back to our original and we'll talk a little college hoops. Um, I know that the new AP poll was released Monday or Tuesday, and there are basically no changes. It's basically, yeah, Gonzaga, Baylor, Villanova, Texas, and Iowa. I don't really see that changing much. I don't think any. Like I said, the only time that I think Gonzaga is going to lose is in the tournament. I just don't think they have a good enough conference opponents to beat him. I mean, usually St. Mary's can be good. They aren't this year. So, I mean, I like Gonzaga a lot. And Baylor is probably just as good as Gonzaga, but they play in a much tougher conference. They'll have to play Kansas, West Virginia, those guys, Oklahoma State, those guys. So they'll probably lose one at some point. And then other than that, it's just been Gonzaga's year. And it makes me look back on last year a lot, and I really just do feel bad for the Dayton fans. I mean that's once in a lifetime, and I don't know how much you know about Dayton, but it's not necessarily one of the bigger party schools in Ohio like OU or Ohio State, but I mean they go crazy up there. I mean it's like when they made the Elite Eight like 2 years ago, 3 years ago. I mean everybody was in the street. They had riot police out. It's great. So I feel really bad for them because I think Gonzaga's kind of on a run this year that Dayton would have been on last year. So I feel bad for them, but it is what it is. You got anything on college hoops? I know Michigan and Wisconsin play tonight. That's a top 10 matchup, I believe. So,
Yep. You kind of covered it all. I mean, nothing really
yeah,
shocks me in the
this is sort of why we kind of
hopped off the college
hopped
basketball train.
because they
Until March
play.
Madness, there's nothing really
Yeah,
to
oh,
talk
I mean,
about. I mean,
the week of
Rutgers fell out of the top 25. I mean,
well,
that was so
Rutgers.
sad.
Um, but yeah, I mean, once March Madness comes around, even the week before, I mean, we'll be all over college basketball. But right now, it's
Uh,
just I will obviously mention the Duke Carolina game, those two games when they come up. But other than that, it the rankings haven't really changed since the beginning of the year. So, and a lot of teams are still dealing with COVID. So it just kind of it's tough to get a read on college basketball, but we will still keep you informed to the best of our ability. All right. So do we want to do fill in the blank, Mount Rushmore, Madden players, or shit list?
um, let's do the Madden players. That sounds
Okay.
interesting.
So it's Mount Rushmore, Madden players. We'll probably feature this maybe once every week, or once every 2 weeks. Um, so it's Mount Rushmore. We also might do like a opposite of Mount Rushmore, like I don't know, like the
Worst
worst
Madden players.
appetizers or
Yeah.
like the worst coaches, people you hate, something like that. But for now, we're gonna go with the best Madden players. You want to go first, or you want to pick two at second?
So are we each coming up with our own four, or are we coming up with an accumulative four?
No, we're coming up with our own four. I don't want your garbage picks.
All right. Well, I'll go second then.
You were really offended by that. I'm sorry.
All right. I'm just asking a question.
Um, yeah. So the clear runaway favorite, and it sucks for you because you were probably a little too young for it. Maybe I don't know, but
I've played the game.
I believe it was the um
2003.
the 2004 version of Michael Vick in Madden was absolutely. I mean, his throw power was like 99. He had decent accuracy, and he was just faster than everyone else. So going out with him and just it was him versus everybody else. Like it was just awesome. So I take the obvious one. I take Michael Vick any day of the week. I mean, we
Yeah.
talk
I
about Madden a
mean,
little bit on here. I wish to God that Madden 20, the new one that I've been playing, had a Michael Vick version. If Kyler Murray was like as good as Michael Vick, I would dominate and not have to draft a new team every night. So,
well, they
um,
have Michael Vick every year. They make a card for him every single year
yeah, I don't
because
do
he's a
I
Madden
don't do
legend.
the ultimate team though. I don't know.
Okay, okay.
Yeah, I'm
All
sure
right,
they. I
well,
mean, they have the card for like all those guys. Yeah,
everyone.
yeah.
Yeah, we're gonna hear some of them because I'm gonna list some of them that are on my old teams here. So
All
for
right,
my
so
two picks here, I'm going. My first one's gonna be any season you want. Doesn't really matter because he's a beast every year. Bo Jackson. I mean, the dude's literally untackleable without hitting him with 3 or 4 players. I mean, it's like the Tecmo Bowl when you just were faster than everyone and you just run back and forth until you went into the touchdown. I mean, Bo
uh-huh.
Jack's literally unstoppable on that. And then one guy this year that's like kind of, excuse my French, but it's kind of bullshit the way that he plays. DK Metcalf. I mean,
Yes, I
he's
love DK Metcalf.
dude, he has 95 speed and is like 6'4", 2 something. The dude literally runs it out and his jump is like a 95. The dude literally runs a streak route and then you just throw it up to him and use the aggressive catch and the guy catches literally fucking anything.
I know. I mean,
Like,
when because it's so weird because I don't want to get off track, but it's so weird because when Madden was first released, he was only like an 82 or even like in the high 70s, low 80s,
yeah,
and now he's like I've stopped drafting him in my fantasy drafts because he's just too good. Like I don't want him
yeah.
anymore.
Yeah, exactly. Like it's not fair how easy it is to play with him. So whenever I get a guy like that where it's like, wow, this is so easy to play with him, I stop taking him. And I only have him on my Madden team this year because I'm trying to get back into playing on the online thing versus other people who all have him. So those are my two picks. Bojack because he's literally untackleable, and DK because it's just he's a walking highlight reel in Madden.
All right, so I got two picks as well. This guy, you could probably pick two versions of him in two different games. Randy Moss in '06 and '09, but preferably in '09, '06 when he played for, or did he play for '09? He played for the Patriots. Yeah, '09.
Yeah, no 0809. So yeah.
Yeah, so I mean, he was incredible. He was DK Metcalf that you were just talking about times like 6. I mean, he caught everything, and he was. But if you look at Randy Moss, like actually in real life, he was a video game. I mean, he was so fast, and
Yep.
he was 6'4". I mean, that New England team wasn't even fair. Like Tom Brady could have just thrown him a streak every single
I
play.
think
So
didn't he throw 50 touchdowns
yeah, that was his
that
record
season?
breaking.
And like Randy had like 30 of them,
Yeah,
or like 20 of
they
them,
they
25 of them.
yeah, they definitely broke the record for at the time. So, and then
Yeah.
my second is also from this year's version, and another player that I never pick, Patrick Mahomes. I mean, the dude, you can be running left on a rollout and literally facing the sidelines, and he will throw it on the run to his right, like perfect pass. It's just not fair. So I don't play with him, but I hate playing against him because you never sack him because he's too fast in the pocket, even though he's not that fast. But yes, I had to put Patrick Mahomes in there for that. So your last one.
Don't we get 4?
Oh yeah, your
Mount
last two.
Rushmore is
Yeah, your
4.
last two.
Yeah. Okay, so now I'm gonna go 2 defensive guys here. Weapon X himself. As much as I hate the Eagles and I hated Brian Dawkins, that dude is an absolute hit stick. Like he brings the boom on every play, forces a fumble literally anytime you use him. I remember back in 2017 when Odell was on the cover, when the aggressive catch was just unfair. He was the only guy that I could legitimately stop anyone with from using that aggressive catch. So Weapon X there, and then Deion Sanders. I mean, the dude on punt returns is insane, and he was a lockdown corner. And I think in one of the Madden games, you could actually put him at wideout, which he was
Yeah.
again faster than the corners.
In the original Madden '99, you could put him. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, the guy was just unfair as heck in any game again, and he was so versatile. You literally could use him on all 3 levels of the field, or all 3 sides of the ball, or whatever you want to call it. I mean, adding those 2 guys, that's a must-have for me.
I feel you. You want to talk? I'll go with my last one. If you want to talk about his sick guys, I mean, Ray Lewis was unstoppable in that game. I mean, he is a murderer, but I mean, every time a running back would come at you like full speed, if you use the hit stick, he would knock the ball out for free. And oddly enough, that was like the same thing for, like was automatic fumble if you hit stick him was Jamal Adams like last year or 2 years ago. Every time you hit stick someone,
Yeah.
they always force a fumble. But so yeah, I'll take Ray Lewis. We miss any good ones?
Uh,
I
I
have one
mean,
a little bit. I have one that's a little bit under the radar.
go for it.
Madden 11, Chris Johnson.
Yeah, CJ2K.
I mean, he
Yeah.
was just so much faster than everyone else.
That's like the same thing after Adrian Peterson in 2012 hit the 2,000-yard mark. I mean, the next year he was just broken. And
Yeah,
then they
he
took
was.
him out of the game because, or maybe the year after that he was still in. I don't know. I know they took him out of the game once he hit his kid with a switch. But when he was still in there, he was such a beast.
I mean, that's what happens when you finish second in the Heisman voting as a freshman. So,
Yeah, that's true.
so that's gonna do it for today. Usually, we'll get in some trivia. Like I said, I kind of wrote down
I
an
was just
outline.
writing up a bunch of them.
You don't need it this week. We'll do it
Well,
next week.
yeah, I'll just save them for next week. They're right at the end of my mock here.
Yeah, once we get our timing down and everything, we'll do more segments. Like I said, we have a fill in the blank segment. Have you ever seen Pardon the Interruption? Have you
You're
seen
asking
Pardon
me?
the
Yes,
Interruption?
yes.
Yeah, so the
I
fill
thought
in
you
the
were
blank.
adding more of the sentence.
Yeah, the fill in the blank's kind of like that. We'll do either Mount Rushmore or the bad version of Mount Rushmore, and then sometimes we'll do a shit list of players, teams, coaches that are just on your shit list. So, but this was our kind of first. I will say this was a lot more interesting than us just talking about college basketball.
I mean, there was a lot more to talk about, which was nice. We did stretch things out for 40 minutes.
Yeah, so we will keep everyone updated. I should have a Twitter handle for this podcast sometime soon. This will either go up tonight or tomorrow, but yeah, everyone don't riot in the streets anymore, and we'll also figure out a schedule that we can pretty much do every week. So try and get on that. But like I said, don't riot in the streets, don't kill people, stay safe, stay warm. We're supposed to get a polar vortex storm in Cleveland tomorrow, so
That means it's coming over to me next because it's
yeah.
gonna
So
make a bolt for the water.
yeah, I wonder if yeah. So, but I mean, schools around here don't even go to school anyways. They canceled school because of COVID. So I mean, there's going to be no snow days, which sucks because snow days were always the best. But so that'll do it for us tonight. You got anything else, Tom?
Go Dogs as usual.
Go Dogs. When have you
Go
ever said go
Dogs.
Dogs?
I say Go Dogs at the end of every show.
Which dogs are you talking about?
Butler Bulldogs, baby.
Oh, I thought you were talking about Georgia after your little.
No. Butler Dogs first. Go Dogs,
You
baby.
you could also be saying the dogs, the Browns, the dog pound.
No.
All right.